I can hardly believe that we are actually past the halfway mark of 2025. Whoa, where is the time going? Morning, afternoon, and evening. This is Jan. Welcome to another episode on this channel, the Save Money More Jan channel. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's talk today about emergency funds for this year, 2025. And I can't believe we are beyond halfway through it. Hopefully, everybody, like I said, is doing well. Why is it important to have an emergency fund? Well, life is quite unpredictable. Let's say whatever you were doing a year ago at this time could be completely different from the things you're doing at this time, for example, maybe in a great way, maybe in a negative way. Who knows? But life changes at the blink of an eyelash, sometimes for the much better, and many times not necessarily. So, therefore, we really should be ready for emergencies. What kind of emergencies? Well, sudden job loss, emergency medical expenses, home repairs, car repairs, things that come up that you didn't plan on, basically, is it. But I could tell you one thing, and I could tell you one thing for sure. Relying on your credit card as your emergency fund is not an emergency fund. Now, it's a tool, a handy tool, a utensil. Think of your credit card as a handy utensil, a tool to use as a vehicle to transfer the funds to whatever the emergency is that you need to pay for. Fine, that's fine and dandy. But here's the question: do you have the money to back it up to pay the bill? Okay, so we got through the easy part. Here's your credit card, make payment quickly, make the thing go away, so to speak. But it's not really going away if you do not have the funding to pay off that credit card as soon as you possibly can. And that's really, really important. So relying on credit cards as an emergency fund is just not a plan, especially if you do not have the money to pay it off immediately, if not sooner. Okay, so we went over the fact that sudden job loss. Sometimes you think you're in a great position in life. You're friends with the boss, you know their family, you send Christmas gifts to each other. I mean it. And you think all is A okay. But that has nothing to do with business because the person that you may be getting along with very well, who happens to be your quote unquote boss, if you will, their business could fold, even if you like each other. Then what? He or she has to do what they have to do to absorb their problems, and they're going to make cutbacks, if not cut down or cut out completely, or just close up shop. Then what happens to always have a plan B? And this is for any given situation in life. I know that sounds really, really like a lot to think about, but it really isn't. Like, okay, so what happens if I don't have enough money to cover the costs on my credit card? Then you get a job. That's plan B, an extra job, or you sell something. That's like your like subconscious plan that you jump to right away to solve the issue. Solving the Here's another thing to remember: solving an issue, financial issue, in my opinion, in my thoughts, when it's at like the size of a pea or a seed, and getting rid of it is so much easier than letting it avalanche into this like huge, huge problem that spirals down and takes people down that dreadful, dreadful rabbit hole of DEBT. So, therefore, it is so very important to have an emergency fund. Well, now that it's halfway and beyond halfway 2025, what is a good amount of monies to keep as an emergency fund? Multiply your monthly expenses. Oh, well, I don't know what they are. Big mistake. Know your numbers. I always say it. Know your numbers. Multiply your monthly living expenses, not just the bills that you pay. Include other monies for how do you live throughout the whole month. What is your realistic money living expenses? Okay, only you can answer that, not me. Take that number, okay, and there goes the bird clock at 6 o'clock Eastern in New York City, 1 week prior to your listening this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're listening to this. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hi, Bert. Hi, everybody again. So take that number, multiply it by 3 at the minimum, at the minimum, 3 months of your living expenses is a great place to start. Okay? Now, if you could pull it up to 6 months, even better. And some have even gone as far as beyond a year. But we don't want to scare anyone off on this. Let's dial it back to the 3 months. But Jan, I can't even think of the 3 months. Let's go back to the 1 month. And I did a video not long ago, you might have heard it already by now, about staying ahead on your bills for 1 month ahead. Some people get really a great launching pad doing that. So go back to that video, and I am positive it'll be of some help. Okay. So let me see what else I have here. Okay, so yeah, get busy with knowing your numbers. This is a tried and true thing. I don't know how many helpful videos I have made where it didn't include the idea of being familiar with one's own numbers. It shocks me to no end as to how many people are not aware of their own income. They have multiple streams of income and they just, okay. Okay, well, that's nice, but what are your numbers? Huh? I don't know. I thought it was this. Okay. Big mistakes. Big mistakes. All right. I'm just saying. All right. So, how do we get to the 3 to 6 months? Okay. Start small with the 1 month. That's tolerable. Then you realize, hey, I could do this. And please do not let, and this is a mistake a lot of people make, in my opinion, lack of confidence get in your way. That's a big mistake. Tell yourself, you know what? I can do this. I can do this. Look in the mirror, even if you have to convince yourself. And even if you have to look at yourself and say, I can do this, and come up with a plan. And I'll say this till I'm blue in the face. The difference between success and failure is lack of a plan. Okay. So let's see. Okay, set a goal. I know a lot of people are like, ew, I don't like goals. I get it. Sounds like a drudge. I get it. It does. But do something, create some sort of an additional incentive to hit that goal, not just a numerical thing. Yay, the number, yay. Maybe, I don't know, a little treat, a little reward, something else. Sometimes people just need that little additional boost of motivation. Doesn't that make sense? I think it does. So, what is your goal? Create a name it and claim it fund. Right. Name it and claim it fund. Now, where do you put your emergency fund money? Put it in a higher yield account is what I like to do. Idea. Okay? Just a suggestion. Put it in a higher interest bearing account. Okay? Look around. That's on you. Do your research, do your homework, and pay yourself first. It goes back to the old fashioned pay yourself first. A lot of people get a little tricky on that one. There are many videos on that. I've done them. They're all over the place. Maybe you need some motivation about paying yourself first. And now, I'm not a fan of automated bill paying, but I am a fan of automated savings. I think that's a great idea. It takes the guesswork out of everything. It kind of, in a way, forces you to pay yourself first if you think about it. See where I'm going with that? So that's another easier way to set up a realistic date that's close to the time of when you receive your funds from your checking to be automatically deposited X number. But sit down again, numbers, know your numbers, and be honest with your numbers. Lying to yourself about your own numbers is futile. It's like scratching your nose to spite your face. Does that make sense? No, we don't like to do things like that. So automate your savings, be very helpful, but be realistic. Thank you. And generate more income. How can you generate more income without changing your entire life unless you feel like doing it? Selling stuff. I'm going to speak that mantra a lot. Sell used clothing, books. Here's the thing, the inventory part. If you could get free inventory by sourcing free inventory all over the place, so many things need to be and should be recycled in this world instead of lying dormant on a shelf collecting dust when it could be earning cash towards your emergency funding. There's so many things right under our own nose. So this is the part that galls me a lot when people ignore that. Maybe they're wearing blinders or rosy colored glasses or something. There's stuff all around us that we could choose to sell. Okay? Sell it at a fair price. Okay? Don't sell your stuff at retail. You're not a retailer. You're a reseller at that point. And who knows, you might be creating yourself a new side hustle that you really, really love. A lot of people try reselling out as a fun hobby and it turns into a career because they want to, because they love it. They wake up every morning with that fun element of surprise. What am I going to sell today? What sold? They go to bed listing stuff, right? Before they go to bed, they wake up and say, what might have sold while I was asleep? By using those online venues where you could do yard sales, flea markets, you know the drill, or just make some phone calls to some friends and family. Hey, can you use this? Blah, blah. Find ways to raise funds and hit your name it and claim it goals. You have to really want to. It goes back to every time what I say all the time. You have to really want to. Mind me turning pages here. And I hope the video comes through. I have my fan on because it's so stuffy in here. Finally, keep those savings in a higher interest account, which I did mention, but I didn't mention higher interest account that's easily accessible. Don't put it into an account that's like locked in, that you can't get to. Put it into an account that's easily accessible. All right. And as always, building an emergency fund may be a challenge, true. This is what I wrote. Maybe a challenge and requires effort, but it is so worth it. Yeah. 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 You don't want to, if your emergency fund is relying on the bank of mom and dad, not good. If your emergency fund is, oh, well, I have credit cards, no good, because you don't have the funds to pay back the credit card. You're going to fall into that dreaded rabbit hole of debt. I don't want you to do that. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I truly, 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 truly appreciate everybody's time. And yes, it is so hard to believe that we are beyond the halfway mark of 2025. If we start doing these great things right now, we will most absolutely have a better, in my opinion, 2026, which will technically be here before we know it. I don't know about you, but once September 1st comes, does not the remainder of the year fall down the rabbit hole of quickness? I mean, I love that time of year. That's just like my favorite time of year. But that's me. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate every single one of you.